The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of S4, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of this broadcast or podcast without express written consent of S4 is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to S4 Radio. Coming to you live from the dark side of midnight. Climb aboard as we explore all aspects of the paranormal, from UFOs and Bigfoot to ghosts and astral travel, and all the fringe subjects in between. You have found the cutting edge of paranormal talk radio with your host, Eric Cooper, and our S4 panel of specialists. Prepare to go to the edge.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to S4 with Eric Cooper, broadcasting live from the beautiful mountains. And let me turn up my microphone here. Of Concrete, Washington. Tonight we are discussing secret societies. Tonight on our panel we have our Keith Andrews, our alien race specialist, and Robert Lee, special guest tonight, and we'll be getting into a little more about what he does, because he actually has his own radio show as well. So I'm going to bring them in now. Also, for all of our local listeners, make sure you stop in and make sure you come to the Farmers Market in Concrete and check out the FMP booth. So how's everyone doing tonight?
Just great things. How's yourself?
Good deal. And here is Michael, but so yeah, I'm running the studio again tonight, so we are having issues, kind of. I just got to figure out how to call Michael and Markham in. Now, I don't have Markham's number for tonight, but tonight we're actually talking secret societies. So let's get right to it. So, what secret societies do we have out there that you guys are familiar with?
Well, I really stuck around the Masonic and Enochian orders and researching and studying a lot of them.
Well, I must confess, I don't do the studying and research thing. I just tend to find out about them. The Illuminati are always fun and extremely misunderstood as to what they're actually. But the actual, the number of other minor ones, I know there's a bunch out there. Because, well, let's face it, way too many people not to be. But I'm not the one to tell you what the names are of them. I can just tell you what they're up to.
Yeah, and so what do we know about the Skull and Bones? You got the Skull and Bones, which I know the Bushes were involved with the Skull and Bones. I think every president in our history has been involved. I mean, with the exception of Trump, I really don't think Trump's been in the Skull and Bones, but you never know.
You never
Um,
know. Yep.
you know, if you want to get deeper, you've got Bohemian Grove, which is kind of where I wanted to go with tonight's show as well. Because Bohemian Grove, for those that don't know, is a camp basically in deep in the mountains in California. And every CEO of any big name, uh, a lot of the presidents, a lot of the foreign leaders have been to Bohemian Grove, and that's where all the rumors float around that yeah they've sacrificed babies there and yada yada yada. And Illuminati, it's funny you mentioned that, Keith, because I got a message on Facebook from a guy that claims to be in the Illuminati. I don't think it's the same Illuminati we think of, but yeah, Illuminati is alive and well and very much public, which is not the same Illuminati.
Yeah, the one that has gone public is, it's funny. They run with the name, and some of them are certainly talented, right? But they don't have the same level of strength that the ancient Illuminati that is behind the scenes a lot have. Nor do they have the understanding of the energy patterns, which is what the Illuminati were focused on in the first place. These ones, the ones that usually come out in public, are, I almost want to say they're more show than anything else.
Yeah, because we did a show on the Illuminati here. Oh God, it's been about, I guess it's been 2 years ago, because it is right around when we first started coming out with S4. And there's so many theories and so many stories that float around. Um, you've got the reptilians were involved with the Illuminati, and it's all alien manipulated, and you've got a lot of influx with the Masonic temples that were some of the Masonic leaders were Illuminati, and it's not the same Illuminati you definitely see today.
Oh Lord, no. I ran into a couple of years back. I ran into a member of what they call the Illuminati. Now, understand the Illuminati are very much into the higher energies, and I don't mean in a positive way, but working with the higher energies. And anytime they run into somebody that's got even remote talent in that, they if they're strong, the true Illuminati will go looking for them, not to eliminate them, but to incorporate them. One I ran into, I swear, people tell me humans can't teleport. This guy was good, because the moment he found out what I was, which quite frankly is a professional psychic, the guy dang near teleported to the far side of the room. If he could have run faster, I'm sure he would have.
Yeah.
On the other hand, he had a really neat trinket.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you know about the Illuminati, Robert?
Well, for one, the number one people that everyone always overlooks. Has anyone ever actually read in this group, other than me, have one of you two read the Teachings of the Order of the Golden Dawn?
No.
The book.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
my
right.
brother's got it.
The Brow of the Dawn.
No, I've never read it.
Everything that you need to know, Keith, is actually in that book, black and white. History and everything. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble.
Right.
And that book actually has existed for about 800 years. It was originally in Italian.
That much I do know, because my brother actually has a copy somewhere.
Everything you want to know, including the statures and names and everything of the historical history and rituals. Everything is in that book. I got 2 copies over here, one in Italian, one in English.
So is the modern version watered down at all, like a lot of the books are that are of ancient times?
Well, but you got to remember the way it works. Masonic temples, every single one of them is just like a church. It's got its own brethren, it's got its own rules, and its own hierarchy. Every Masonic temple, which means you can't go from one to another and just say hey, howdy. You have to. The rituals have to be done. They even mark them by ley lines. That's where the temples all are. Every time there's a nexus point for a ley line, you'll see a Masonic temple or markings of an old Masonic temple on the sides of the buildings. Even in every big major city in America has them.
Yeah, and so is it the Golden Dawn that was responsible for the structure and we actually discussed this on the show. Oh God, I think it was last year. It might have been yeah, it was last year when we were talking about the founding of the country and how
Yeah.
this country was not founded on Christianity because most of our founding fathers were indeed pagan, but were very much secretive about it.
Well, there is one little thing on that though. If you really think about it. Um, and in the Golden Dawn, it even says the pagans can join and convert if they wish, but let them be because they fix what or the organizational groups screw up and then it reboots all over again. What's really messed up is chapter 4. The top header for chapter 4 is the ritual of the portal.
Okay.
A portal, like opening it up to another dimension.
Right.
There in black and white in a book.
So go ahead and explain that.
The portal, or
So was this all Masons that you're talking about, or is this
yeah,
the Golden?
it's another group of Masons. There's 13 Masons groups.
Okay, so is the Golden Dawn actually a Masonic group?
It's one of the 13.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to get at you.
And different groups also have different religions, including Native American. It goes that far. It goes just as back. Native American history goes just as far back as Masonic.
Okay. You see, you're educating us, because yeah,
I
I always thought Native American was actually pre-Masonic.
Do you remember when you and me talked when we were deployed, my friend? I told you I have a library and I studied it because it was better than that or getting in a fight with some jerk off with an M16.
Right. And yes, folks, Robert Lee and I actually go back to Iraq. I don't think we really knew each other back in Iraq, but we were on the same soil at the same time.
Yep. 3rd ACR.
And yeah, and we supported three ACR. And actually, Robert was in charge of a pagan group that we in Forest Moon Grove actually sponsored.
Yep.
So,
Yes, indeed.
So that was interesting times.
Yep.
Very interesting times.
Lots of problems with chaplains. Yeah. They don't like me.
But we won't even get into that one. No, God, no. They don't like pagans in general. So getting back to the Masons. So they were Masonic Native Americans?
Hold on. I had to take a drink.
Okay.
Oh. It's my birthday. I'm eating a double chocolate German Pop-Tart.
Nice. I like it.
and happy birthday.
Thank you. Tomorrow we're baking the cake.
There you go.
Everybody is asleep but me. I will admit I had a couple of shots.
I wonder.
Only a couple?
Hey, I did. Hey, that's after we get done.
Oh, okay.
I want to pull in Keith real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keith,
Yeah.
so are you aware of any Masonic off-worlders?
Well, I'm aware. Here's the neat part. I'm aware of some of them, and I don't mean the race, but members of said race that have gotten involved. Okay, um, but do they control it, or for that matter, are they controlled by it? The answer is no. I do know for an absolute certainty that that some Greys have gotten involved in it, but that's because of one little detail. They want to know what the Masonics are trying to do. It's called research. It's not a question of condoning um, or of denying it. It's a question of simply wanting to know what they're up to.
So do we have any off-world manipulation of any of the Masonic temples that we're aware of?
Um, you know, I sort of have to play. This is going to sound like I'm almost sidestepping, but as far as their governments and their motivations go, from everything I know, the answer is no. But as with every order, every individual has a certain amount of influence, and by sheer nature of their race, they have to be very careful because humans will defer to what they're doing if it seems to work in the order's favor. You know, but they don't. As far as I'm aware, they're not sitting in power seats, right? Aside from what people give them by simple nature.
Okay.
You know, the thing I do want to stress is, are the Masonic orders being manipulated by off-worlders? No. That is not part of the off-world directive.
Can I dial in?
Say again?
Can I dial in?
Yeah,
He wants
go
to
ahead.
project.
I had to wait till you got to a good point. But now I need to dial in.
Absolutely. Fire away.
Aleister Crowley.
He's human. Twisted, but human.
But nothing? You don't know anything about Aleister Crowley?
Oh, yeah.
You mean aside from, well, he wasn't an
Besides-
off-worlder.
He was a what?
He was not an off-worlder.
No, but he was the avatar of, well, what I would say, so you don't quote it from a book, just from my lips.
Right.
My descriptive would be an avatar of Cthulhu. Have you read his
Absolutely.
stuff? And Cthulhu is an off-worlder. And Aleister Crowley was a high-level, opened up 19 Masonic temples in America before they kicked him out.
Now, I won't argue that point. I absolutely agree with you, as a matter of fact.
Which means the entire, that's at least 0.5% of, at that time, of how many was in America.
But here's the thing.
And that was controlled by an off-worlder, Cthulhu.
No. It was controlled by Crowley, who happened to use his awareness and connection to Cthulhu to, shall we say, direct what he was aiming at. But Cthulhu himself wasn't actually the one dictating which way things went. Okay.
Well, you do know that the Order of the Golden Dawn talks about the portals I mentioned, right?
Absolutely.
The Order of the Golden Dawn has about other dimensions, and it has about Cthulhu as well.
Yep.
And it does not talk about that person no longer is human. They are embodied by Cthulhu. They have no brain.
Well, this is where this is where we run into a
Because
interrupting.
I'm sorry, but that's just the way the book says.
Oh, I'm not arguing with it being. I'm not. When I say it's not entirely accurate, it's not because what you're saying isn't entirely accurate. I have no problem with you going, this is what I read in the book, this is what it's telling.
Well, I'm a book nerd. I'm sorry, I'm a book nerd.
And I'm probably
I'm
nothing
a
wrong with that.
kept you from beating up on people that were, had guns. Yeah.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. You see the way I talk, the way I am, the way I express myself? Imagine that as a shop clerk in the army, like Radar from MASH.
Yeah.
You know how many motherfuckers wanted to shoot me? Excuse my French, I am sorry.
Yeah,
Just so many guys wanted to shoot me because I was so annoying. But the problem about it was, no matter how annoying I was never wrong.
Well,
Because the stuff that I know is the only stuff that comes out of my mouth.
here's where you and I will run into a little bit of a loggerhead. Where it comes to what you know from the books, I will absolutely defer to what you've learned.
Well, how about the journals? Because I got his love letters to a mistress that was helping him with the tarot card deck. You want those? Does that help?
Doesn't help with the motivation or directive of Cthulhu themselves.
Yeah, because it talks about the Dark Master.
I don't debate that. Let me put it this way. If you have somebody that you put on a pedestal and you're trying to do without direction, if you will, you're trying to gain some sort of an upper hand or some sort of recognition from them. Poking everything being their issue or being from them directly will put you in good shape. The thing is, if Cthulhu wanted this planet wouldn't belong to Earth. It would be that simple. Okay, Cthulhu doesn't want the planet. Now, Crowley, on the other hand, Crowley was brilliant in so many ways. And
But that's not why he did it. According to his journals, he did it because his wife killed herself. And in despair, he was calling forth Cthulhu to take away his pain. That is the only connection of gratitude that man wanted from Cthulhu was peace. And that's actually in his journal.
Yeah.
And then it goes crazy from there. A lot of crazy little crap you don't want to read over and over again afterwards for about 3 months.
Which doesn't surprise me, quite frankly.
So,
I mean,
So we know Crowley was human.
Yeah.
Some people would say once he infected Crowley, Crowley was dead. Just an embodiment from walking flesh being used by someone else, like a zombie.
And I won't debate what they say. I'll just tell you it wasn't because Cthulhu took him over. And I'm not debating what it says in the books. I'm not debating what it says in the journals.
So which race was Cthulhu?
One of the elder gods, or the elder titans of sorts. Like a big squid monster in space.
You remember me talking about the octopods?
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like them. Yeah.
I
got
you.
But they don't have an interest in running the planet.
So what was their interest?
Try that again?
So what was their interest?
Their interest is octopeds are, from a human standpoint, cephalopodic. They have 8 to 10 legs, depending on which one you're looking at.
Right.
But the reality is they want to understand how a bipedal, cranial isolated race could get as big and as interactive a civilization as they got, especially when they're trying to kill each other.
Okay, now, Okay, your description is sound for that group you're talking about, but Cthulhu doesn't go along the lines of octopods and spider-like creatures. It's complete opposite direction. You've seen the curses and stuff that happened to the pirates on Pirates of the Caribbean with the curse ship, and they
Yep.
started having deformatives of sharks and all that, and squid monsters and everything.
Yeah.
That is the curses and taints of Cthulhu. No, there is no spiders, nothing. It's underwater and algae and water coming out of your eyes and nose and mouth while you're sitting there taking and trying to have sex with your girlfriend. It's in a movie. Watch it. It's actually called Necronomicon, the original.
Yeah.
It's like
The thing is, and this is where things get a little screwy, because you're absolutely on the money where it comes to Cthulhu being an elder god. Okay.
but it's
much like
more of an
that, right.
aqua.
Well,
It's
I
all
realize
water-based.
when we take a look at Cthulhu is, to some of the other races in that genre, if you will, Cthulhu is far more advanced. This is why we call him an elder god. If you take a look at humans 35, 40,000 years ago, they were far more advanced, especially in the intellectual and metaphysical fields, than what mankind today is. Okay.
So then why does he need to infect? That's what Eric was asking.
This is the problem. It wasn't an infection, and that's where we're having the problem.
Okay, so do you need me to explain why the infection then? Because I know it too.
Fire away.
All the gods and stuff in every pagan religion, and I mean like hardcore pagan, some like the Tibetans, where Brahmin was the social classes, and if you were a lower class, you got ate by the gods. The gods would absorb the energy of the bodies and the souls, the magnetic field, and the intelligence, the thoughts and lives of what they ate. Cthulhu has connections through a certain blood type and wave pattern on the earth, and he feeds off of them and those who call forth a connection to him. He feeds off them to survive. It doesn't matter how much of a god you are. You still need sustenance.
That much is absolutely true.
And
And I won't
Cthulhu
argue with you,
feeds
the feeding,
all that.
Yeah. But feeding does not mean infecting and controlling.
Well, to us, it would be infecting and controlling. Because to us, it would be like a little spore got on my arm and then it is in my body and now it's controlling my brain.
So let's bring something up real quick.
Because that's
So-
been mentioned too.
So some people, you look at it, like shows like Ancient Aliens, and they bring up that many of the off-worlders, when they came down, were seen as gods. So there's a lot of confusion over what's a god, who's a god, and which one's an off-world.
Well, here's my question. Why can't it be both?
And it could
Well, it is.
Because even in sci-fi, even in Star Trek, Star Wars, and everything, you can ascend. Every religion and race in the universe has this to where you can ascend.
be. Mm-hmm.
Even the necromongers on frickin'
Dune, I believe, was
the movie. Damn it. The guy from Pitch Black. It was a sequel. He had the whole
Yeah.
army.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
The necromongers. Even they believed that the afterlife was an ascension. Period.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Well, what if you either ascend and energy becomes part of everything again, or you become a god and create and keep the cycle going? Why
Oddly
can't you do
enough-
both?
Oddly enough, that's literally what happens. when we start talking about ascension, now we get back into that odd thing that humans tend to refer to as soulmates in today's world. And as you find your soulmate, and thereby, every time you find a soulmate, and both of you pass away, you merge to become a higher entity. Well, you get far enough down the road, and you are like unto a god to people that have not got to that point.
Okay, now I'm talking about actually a evolutional godlike status.
So am I.
I'm not talking about people looking up at you and you're a god. I'm talking physically. You become one.
You're talking about people that have, and I use the term people very loosely, but you're talking about individuals that have the capacity to create life, to create planets, to create their own little part of the multiverse. Okay, and we are on the same page on that one. We may be using slightly different different words.
That's something I forgot. There's a little exclaimer about me. My wife likes to tell people I have a different jargon from everybody because I also speak 2 languages. So in my brain, sometimes stuff come out that my wife goes, "What did you say?"
Well, the good news there, Robert, is I've been a recluse for 90%. Well, for I think about 80% of my life now. And therefore, everything like I told one chap years ago, one of these days I'm going to have to start researching some of this stuff instead of just living it. You know, so you and I, let's be clear. You and I, where it comes to what a god is, we're on the same page.
Now, what I think is really cool too is, a lot of the off-world races actually worship the same creator goddess that the original pagans worshipped. You want to go into that? You want to go into that a little bit, Keith?
Well, we'll start with the fact, and this always gets people in trouble, but let's start with the fact that when we look at religion and we start talking, and I forget, because I'm not pagan myself, well, not entirely, but when you take a look at Satan, the description of Satan is incredibly similar to that of Pan. Okay, and I believe that would be more in your, shall we say, purview. But most of the Christian holidays and special people and what have you, the dates are taken from the pagan religion in order to make the pagan religion more, or in order to make Christianity more acceptable to the pagans at the time.
La 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 la.
Yeah, well, look at Yule and Christmas. Look at Easter and Star. Look at,
okay, Eric.
Go on.
Eric.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we start talking about the year wheel. Before we start talking about the year wheel, do you remember the comment on Facebook on your all's Facebook with my picture and the list of the demons and devils and angels? And this man just said what? About Satan?
Right.
Okay. Shall I answer him?
Oh,
Satan wasn't even kicked out of heaven. He wasn't even kicked out of heaven.
I know that.
Well, no, that goes. That
Lucifer was.
That goes with religion anyway. Religions, and I'm not trying to make this into a religious show because.
Got it. Okay. But Satan was a totally different angel that got kicked out.
Right.
He wasn't kicked out. He was cast out.
No, he was the third in line. Lucifer was number 1. Satan and Lucifer are not the same angel. It's in Catholic genre. If you look up the histories of angels and all their names, it is separate. Lucifer and Satan is.
Yeah, actually, Keith, if you go in the FMP group, you'll see the chart that Robert's talking about, where it actually has I think 13 different. It's more than 13, I think, but it
It's every
actually,
single placement of the houses of all the demons of hell and
right,
angels of hell.
right. But okay, so Ronald's bringing up when you look at religion without the beer goggles, and I agree. Religion itself was actually created to manipulate the human race.
No, but that is what it got used for.
Right.
Religion originally evolved to explain the inexplicable until science could figure it out. Now, was it used once it came into existence to manipulate? Absolutely. But intriguingly enough, it wasn't done by the off-world. It was done by the humans in the first place.
Hold on, that last bit. What did you just say? Because literally, I didn't hear it.
What I said was religion itself wasn't developed to manipulate mankind. It
No, I got
evolved
that part. I mean, the last three words.
that the manipulation was done by humans themselves, not by the off-worlders.
Oh, okay.
Now, if I remember right, though, the reptilians did get involved, especially when you get into many of the theories and all. There's a lot of theories out there that Jesus Christ himself was an off-world, and
Yeah,
when he was crucified, it wasn't an earthquake. It was actually a spaceship that was crashing. And in order to keep the Christian religion going, another race brought in a hybrid, which is why Jesus was different when he was resurrected from the dead.
Who in the world said that?
I don't know, but it's a little misleading. I'm not debating the issue of the crash.
No, it sounds like a Doctor Who episode.
But I can tell you that Christ
Go
himself.
go look at Dante Santori's videos. I'll actually send you the link. And it actually comes out of some of the KGB some of the KGB alien files.
Okay.
Did you enjoy the books that I sent you, Eric?
I love them.
All right.
The crash itself, I won't debate, but Christ himself, it wasn't a question of being replaced. It was a question of he needed that much time to reorganize, to get his body back up and running. Do understand, when he was stabbed on the cross, that let enough toxin out to stop him from actually dying, but by the standard at that point, by their knowledge, he was absolutely dead. Much like many people will drop into a coma, people figure they're dead, that they have died. Go back to the Middle Ages. Staggering numbers of people were buried alive because they were thought to be dead. Okay. Now, the issue of him walking out of the tomb, if you know how to manipulate energy at a high enough level, you can actually do exactly what he did with his own hands. Okay, because all you've got to be able to do, and this is way oversimplified, is you've got to be able to manipulate the gravitational adhesion in order to roll said stone. You just have to be able to override it. Okay, and if you're strong enough in that field, and he was, then pulling that off is not a big problem. The reason he was different, it wasn't so much he'd been replaced, as it became very apparent at that point that he had to modify the rules a bit.
Now, I want to switch gears here real quick. So we know the Masons were in and of themselves a secret society of sorts. What other secret societies were the Masons involved in? Do we know? You got Skull and Bones. You've got, you've got a plethora of secret societies out there. Were the Masons involved with any of the other ones?
Well, if the foundation basis that started the individual group came from a Masonic temple that came in, they started putting them in when the colonies arrived with the 13 colonies.
Right.
So they brought them over from Europe. So every major city that was ever made, besides the courthouse, the next couple of buildings up, at least one of them was used as a Masonic temple in every single town in America.
What about in Europe?
That's where it came from. Europe was big on it too. Have always been big on it.
So what
Every
other?
country, every town has to have somebody in charge.
Well, that's where I was about to go. What other countries has Masonic influence
Every
besides
country.
besides the UK and America?
Every country.
So
But
Japan.
Yes.
here's the thing, though.
It,
If
it
every-
is the world order.
Well, if every Masonic branch, if you will, is of its own, it's got its own outlook or its own set of leaders or what have you. It's, from my way of thinking, much as as they're all on sort of the same page, they're not as unified as what would be necessary to control a world. Yes, they are influential, and the mere mention of the name brings all kinds of concepts. But if they're not actually connected, okay, aside from their origin, then ultimately they don't run the world as much as many people think they do.
Why not?
Well, because if every one of them has their own levels of people in them, their own series of rituals that must be followed, they are in essence, although they run under the same banner, if you will, in essence, they're individual. Because because of the fact you can't move from one to the other freely. If that is the case, then it is not one order. It is a group of similar individuals.
You
And yet
can
they-
go from one order to another. You just have to make sure that it is okay. It's like trading partners. It's like leaving a business deal. But you
Yeah.
can leave and move to another when you move to a new city.
And you
That-
just hit the nail on the head, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you do that, if you're moving from one to the other, it's the individual that you're moving towards, the individual group that you're moving towards, is the one that's got to give you the go ahead to move in there.
No. Because you're allowed to go into any temple as long as they know that you're coming, and they will make sure that the food is ready, and they will make sure that candles are lit for you for prayer. It's like showing up and Alfred's got the dinner on.
Well, I'm a little lost quite frankly, because the way it feels from the way it's being described is there isn't a head, if you will, of the Masonic order. There are a lot of different pockets where, yes, you can move. They all get along, but none of them are. There isn't anybody at the top going, "This is how we do it."
So,
Actually, it's every 7 surrounding states from one main temple. It's every surrounding states has one main leader in a branch to about 13 houses in America. There's
Okay.
13 leaders. Like I said earlier, there's 13 leaders.
Right.
so what kind of manipulation do we see from the Masons in our working government we see today?
Everything. Think about it like this. The community of every major city is an engine. The Masons, they're not the piston. They're the drive belt. Okay?
Okay.
The rest of the government, because if one Mason screws up somewhere on that belt and your engine starts acting up. So what they do is they start funneling them around throughout the city and make sure and they're in the right jobs and stuff like that to keep things running smoothly. That doesn't mean that there's bad people. There's plenty of bad people in the Masons and everywhere else. Okay? That's why shit gets crazy. But the thing about it is, though, is that it's a necessary evil, but it was created to keep society going. Regardless of connections to other worlds, because that comes from religion as well. But the basic of laws of every society and ethics of every society, the citizens of that society, they make the laws. And those are based off the morals and values taught to them, and
Well,
so
that
on
is
and so
pretty
forth.
accurate.
That's the definition of law. It's made by ethics, and ethics is created by the society it's in. One town could be 100% pagan, and the other town is 50%. Another one hates everybody. You got to
So,
have somebody controlling it.
so
We ain't
Trippin's
going to do
got
it.
so Trippin's got a question in the chat room. Are the Skull and Bones still fighting amongst themselves?
The Skull and Bones, I would say they are fighting themselves because education is where they had control, and now education in America has gone to crap.
Well, the good news is it's done the same thing up here. It's just which one of us is going to get to the bottom end first.
Yeah.
You know?
I
Yeah,
think
education was what they had their control in.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Skull and Bones didn't really get much publicity until the Bushes came into power.
Well, before the Bushes came into power, the Skull and Bones were okay. In the Order of the Golden Dawn, the Illuminati is basically the Skull and Bones. Just two different societies. One of them went FBI, CIAs, and all that stuff. Illuminati, by the Order of the Golden Dawn, in the book The Golden Bough, they are considered like Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse, the cooler, but he has no problem shooting you.
Well, it does make people cooler, or at least more relaxed.
They were the hitmen. They were the guys like 007. Because you got to remember, it came from Italy through Europe and into England. The Order of the Golden Dawn is in all that.
So someone brought up the point that a secret society, once it becomes public, is no longer secret, and that's why I bring up the Bushes, because prior to the Bushes, to be honest with you, I'd never even heard of the Skull and Bones. It was like Tripp is saying, right before and well after Bush Senior, that is. Yeah, they kind of spilled the beans more or less, and brought the Skull and Bones out into the public eye.
Really? You're not going to mention Pierce?
No.
Oh, Pierce was okay. President Pierce. He shot 3 men, was part of a secret society, and they impeached him 3 times. His great-granddaughter is the Bush boy's mother, the grandmother. That is his granddaughter, Pierce's granddaughter.
Okay.
That's like, what, second president after Lincoln? Second or third after Lincoln, if I remember straight?
Okay, gotcha.
I'm definitely.
I'm sorry, my brain's rusty after when it comes to history. I got to take history here next year. Now that's going to be
Well, I
interesting.
can help you on that. I can help you on that. I
Uh,
got issues on that. Whenever I was done with my homework, I had more homework.
right.
Yeah,
So,
but that was usually self-motivated.
no, you don't know my mother.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
no, it's going to be kind of cool because next year I actually have to take history pre 1800s, so I'll learn all about that kind of stuff.
Oh, you're not going to like that.
You know what?
Well, there's a
I'm
lot of
actually enjoying
battles. I'll give
school.
you that. There's a lot of battles. I'll give you that. There's a lot
Right.
of nice battles during that time frame.
Cool. Cool.
In all my years, I've never actually heard somebody refer to it. Well, actually, that's not true. But I was going to say I've never heard of somebody actually call them nice battles. But in all fairness, yeah, people do see it that way. Myself, I never considered a fight actually a good thing, just a necessary.
Oh, dude, I used to be the chess club captain in high school. So there's a lot of nice battles as well.
Oh, in chess, I love it. Like
And
I
I
played,
also have a Wing Chun Kung Fu black belt and a black belt in Aikido.
yes.
So
I was assuming you
I
were
enjoy
referring.
fights. I enjoy fights.
Yes, I was actually assuming you were referring to military battles, and with the amount of loss and the amount and like I said, I don't agree with them, but
Oh.
Eric can tell you, I have the utmost respect for the military. I don't agree with the battles. I do understand the necessity of them.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the only thing I don't like about a lot of those stories, though, is also my dad's Native American, my mom's Gypsy. The Native American took a big hit during those years.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm curious about the Native American aspect of the Masonic.
Well,
So if you want to go into that a little
the,
bit.
when I use the term Masonic, I mean because not every pagan group has an elder.
Right.
The ones that are fortunate enough to actually have several people that have been a part of it and an elder, and there is a lot of them that I've seen. Um, those are the groups that are part of those orders, especially in America. The ones that actually know how to do their stuff right and they get people to actually work together and they control the community and it's successful. Those are the ones that branch out.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Yvonne's got a question in the chat room. Are Rosicrucians still in existence?
Yes, they are. The military has been tracking them on the no-fly list. And I mean, from the very start, in 1999, they were put on the religion to not allow in the military. And you were not allowed to practice that group at all while you were in the military either. There's actually a no-no list.
So go real quick. Go just a real in a nutshell. What are Rosicrucians?
Um, they're like the Order of the Golden Dawn, but one variation is that they are the ones that I have personally met are a little bloodthirsty for my taste. Kind of like the League of Shadows from Batman.
Okay,
They
and
would
what's
they have more concern of wiping out a whole city than have to deal with one guy.
so what's their belief? I mean, do they believe in the Christian God? Do they believe in Thor, Zeus? What's their belief?
Some of them are pagans. It's literally the best of the crop of guys and they all have their own code, their own everything. Each one of them is a complete individual, but it's an expert in their own sector. Like, you're not going to send the voodoo worshiper after the Viking. You're going to send the Viking after the Viking. You know what I mean?
Right. So,
No, I think the voodoo worshiper going after the Viking, if you get the right voodoo worshiper, the Viking's in trouble.
No. Sorry.
so yeah, Yvonne wants
Voodoo
to know,
really don't work that good on a Viking.
Yvonne wants to know why they're not allowed the military.
Because the military started getting soft with
Oh,
political
that's
correctness.
That's a whole other discussion because it's more than it got soft. It got flooded with the
Yeah.
Evangelical Association, and well, it went downhill from there.
Yeah, a lot of it went downhill. That's where that in the no-no list, there is a few of them in there that are completely peaceful. But the god that they worship is a god that apparently the government don't want to mess with. I don't know. The goddess Diana.
Okay.
The Wiccan / pagan / Samaritan goddess.
Right. No, I know who you're talking about. I'm confused because
They devour men.
I've got Ronald in the chat room saying you're inaudible, and that's the first.
I'm inaudible?
Yeah, I'm a little confused here. Everyone else is hearing you just fine. And Greg's got a question about the Bohemian Grove. We're getting close to the top of the hour, so I'm about to go to break.
How long's the break?
Huh? 5 minutes.
How long break?
We have
5 minutes.
We have a 5-minute break. So,
I'll hotbox it.
Alrighty. So, folks, when we come back from the break, we'll continue this discussion, and we'll get into a little more of the Bohemian Grove for Greg. Tonight on our panel, we have our Keith Andrews, our alien race specialist, and special guest Robert Lee. Him and I were on the same soil in Iraq at the same time. Very well versed on secret societies as well as the Masons. And myself, Eric Cooper, Force Moon Paranormal. Join us every Saturday night at midnight Pacific Standard Time. You can find us on Spreaker.com and thefringe.fm. And for our local listeners, you can catch our shows on KSVU 90.1 on your FM dial on Saturdays from 10 p.m. to midnight. So, please go to thefringe.fm and check out the show lineup with shows like Lighting the Void with Joe Roop, The Paranormal Code with Rich Giordano, and a plethora of other good shows. So, after the break, we will be back.
This is Joe Roop from Lighting the Void, and you're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting Station, The Fringe FM.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. There's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
Select Joe Roop at checkout at AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Rev Dan Lopez from Spiritual Warrior Today Radio, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Bouval, Lon Malduquette, Aaron Cheek, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric, and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
You asked for it. We listened. Changes are coming to the Fringe FM. Hear the Paranormal Code with Rich Giordano live Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, starting July 9th.
July 9th, we're going to be going 4 nights a week on the Fringe FM.
Followed by Lighting the Void with me, Joe Roop, live at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Then, stay up with us in the early morning hours for some of the best paranormal and alternative programming around. The truth is out there, and so are we. The Fringe FM.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy. Bugs. I hate bugs. Our home is clean, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. The ingredients in Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list, so Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com and Ace Hardware.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Preston Dennett from PrestonDennett.weebly.com, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
My name is David. I suffered from MS, or multiple sclerosis symptoms, since 1986. For years, doctors tried to help, but didn't give me any real hope. I tried almost everything. I was afraid this was my future, but I did not give up hope. 8 years ago, a healthcare worker told me about ReginaStem. I called ReginaStem. ReginaStem explained how stem cells worked. No promises, just a simple explanation of the science. They treated me with respect and understood my journey. For the first time, I felt hope. Now I can jog and snow ski once again. It's been amazing. I have been symptom-free of multiple sclerosis for 8 years. I have learned that stem cell therapy has a broad range of medical therapy, from COPD to chronic pain and diabetic neuropathy. It's an amazing therapy. If you want to talk about your chronic pain or your chronic symptoms, call ReginaStem today.
Call 305-224-1858. That's 305-224-1858. 305-224-1858.
Welcome back to S4 Radio.
Welcome back, folks. For those of you just joining us tonight, we are discussing secret societies. On our panel, we have R. Keith Andrews, our alien race specialist, and Robert Lee, very well versed on secret societies as well as a plethora of other topics. We'll definitely have him back on the show for other areas we're talking about. So, actually, and for some reason, I'm not... Okay, there we go. So, before the break, we were getting asked questions about Bohemian Grove. And Bohemian Grove's not an organization, per se. It's not a secret society. I guess it kind of is. But it's a location in California where big-time CEOs go, all the presidents have gone, different world leaders have gone, where supposedly they... Oh, God. Help me out here. I can't remember the name of the owl they worship. Do you guys remember?
Of the owl they worship?
It's the one for the Greek goddess Aphrodite.
Well, they don't call her that. They don't call it Aphrodite. They call it something else. I can't remember.
I know the owl is a messenger owl. It actually has a name. I don't remember it either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Damn it. So yeah, Bohemian Grove. I wanted to get Christina George in tonight because she actually lives close to Bohemian Grove. Can tell you a whole lot more about it. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Masonic influence with Bohemian Grove as well as the Bilderbergs, because they seem to have their hands everywhere. You still here?
I'm here.
All right. And good night, Jaretta. Jaretta's going to sleep. And Robert was asking about the chat room. Yeah, the chat. We actually have a chat room in a Fringe network as well as in Spreaker on ES4.
Yeah, but whenever I go to your website and I try to bring it up, I can't get the chat. What part of your page has the chat room?
All right, go on Spreaker and you will find a chat balloon.
Okay.
Hold on. So while we're doing that, so what do you know about the Masons and the Bilderbergs?
You're talking about the Grove.
No. So Bilderbergs, they meet every other year, and used to be an undisclosed location, but now it's a lot more a lot more publicized because, well, frankly, they couldn't hide it anymore.
Which show is yours? Secret Teachings?
No, S4. Yeah, I'm finding it for you.
S4.
Oh, come on. I got too much going on my computer.
Well, do you have the chat opened up on your window?
I do.
Then just paste and copy the address bar to the messenger on Facebook and send it to me.
I'm about to do that right now.
That's the quickest way for me to get it.
Yeah. So no, Bilderberg's actually, I can't remember exactly when they were formed, but I believe. What do you know about Bilderberg's, Keith?
I know a lot of rumors, but I don't have anything functionally factual to work with. Other than I've heard that they are one of the 5 families that run the planet. Now, how much do I believe that? That's open to conjecture. But we're in a field. This whole topic tonight is one that, quite frankly, is outside of my purview because, well, I'm not well read. I am certainly not a researcher. And history and I, well, we went our own direction years ago.
Well, I can help you out on one of them. I got no problems. You could ask Eric. I got no problems giving you some stuff. Right, Eric?
Oh yeah. Robert's got a whole library.
Oh yeah. No, and I understand that all too well. I just, because of the speed that I don't read.
Oh, no, trust me. I got some good stuff, some small stuff, too. And I have it on Microsoft OneDrive. I can actually just send you a link, and you can... Anybody that wants it, just sends me a message. I'm rrlshort@live.com, and I can send you the OneDrive link. You can look at whatever document I give you for free. Some of them are small. One of them is a 4-star general in England, an English general, talking about aliens landing in the whole interview, question and answer interview.
Right.
I got lots of stuff I can give you. No problem.
Oh, yeah, and I don't argue that point. I was referring to, at this point, most of what I've heard about, that I've picked up around secret societies that are, shall we say, human-driven, I chalk a lot of it up, like, you hear it often enough. Obviously, there is fact behind it. Exactly how much is debatable on occasion. And I have come to understand that a lot of the information that is out there is misrepresented. Or misrelayed is a better way of putting it. Because it's not a question of people going, oh, I'm going to deliberately put out wrong information, so much as they don't have it in the first place. But I do know that there are some people, like I had the pleasure of talking to one of the presidential candidates from the last election, right, an independent.
Yeah.
And I found it rather fascinating when what they told me was that that there is a specific book that every president has to read that sets up the pace for what is going down, for what they've got to get, what they've got to tie off.
Okay, now what I'm seeing on that is that this is a well-oiled machine that has been working for over a century. Okay, my friend? They plan out years ahead. They're not in that much of a rush. That the way you're talking, they're rushing to get this done. They're doing this done. It's all planned ahead. It's just falling like dominoes. That's all they do. They plan 3 years ahead. That's why they have the groups over at the Grove and the ceremonies and all that. It's just like in the military. Whenever we did our spur run, our spur ride and everything else, we would have a big ceremony, bonfire, rocking in after 17-mile ruck march.
And then you get to drink the grog.
Get to drink. It's a ceremony. Pagan religions are, and every religion, even Catholicism, even some of the, I'm from Kentucky, even some of the backwater holler Kentucky churches have big ceremonies.
Absolutely. And there is something to be said for following ceremonies, for following, if you will, rituals. There is a reason they've developed, and there is a reason they work.
Well, my outlook on why they work, the rituals, all right, here's a question to you then. What do you feel, if a ritual works, what is it that powered that ritual?
99% of the time, the clinical term would be biomagnetic interlink.
Or you could just say what Nikola Tesla said and just call it the magnetic field of the body.
Energy.
Except it's not just the connection to the body.
No, but it is the faith is what is used to project it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because
the faith you put into your energy.
Well, the connection itself is actually linked to the planet.
Yes, through ley lines, just like the nervous system of the body equals out the roadmap of the ley lines of the earth. That's how we connect.
And yes, and ultimately, that is what makes it work.
Which is still a community, even at that level.
Yeah. Where I run into an interesting question on it, from my standpoint, is most people, in spite of what they're told, in spite of what has been proven, they still turn around and, like, it's, for instance, proven that negative energy will damage the plant life around you. And bearing in mind, Earth is an oversized plant. What doesn't make sense is why there is so much work towards that negativity when it is equally proven the people working side by side towards the same thing get a lot more accomplished if they're not trying to kill each other.
Okay, now here's the thing. And I got an answer for that too. And I'm not making fun by saying that. I've been dying to say that. The thing about it is you have to define negative energy. A guy getting in a fist fight with some guy trying to take his girl is not an X point of negative energy. That's actually an X point of yin and yang together. That's when your body is like, all right, we're moving, we're doing this, all at the same time.
Agreed.
Okay.
Wars and battles and stuff like that, mass murders and stuff. The negative energy, I would say, would be that serial killer at the end of the bar, not the 5 guys having a fist fight because someone cheated at pool.
Domestic violence, things of that nature, that's negative energy.
But to some people, the express of negative energy causes a really big rush of positive energy after. In some people, like Vikings.
Now, Trippin is in the chat room saying greed and control.
Which is 2 basic fundamental emotions, yes, of everybody. It's human. That's a human thing, yes.
Probably it's not relegated to just humans.
No, animals too.
Now, here's a question.
Especially those monkeys.
Did the Masons form out of greed and control?
Yes and no. The greed, it first started off as sustainability because societies wouldn't be able to work right. Somebody on the backside had to be making sure shit was running. They had to make sure the stuff was running just fine. At the start, it was sustaining, just, to make sure we can eat, make sure that crops are being grown, the guy got the right seed. But then later, they're like, okay, I'm in charge of a town. Let's see if we can make this bigger and go into another town and then into another town. That's where greed came in.
Well, and if you think about it, like you said earlier in the show, you have good and the bad. You have good Masons, you have bad Masons. And I'm sure a lot of the greed and control came out from the negative Masons, the ones that saw using the Masons to get their greed and control.
But you had to relinquish control. The guy had people working for him. Those people were the society he was helping to run. And they are his boss. You had to release control and do what he says.
Now, do we have any cases that you know of where a Mason killed another Mason to get, the control?
All the time.
Well, that was subtle.
Well,
right.
A lot of the Masonic groups, a lot of them find them out. They make themselves to be like Rome.
So, are there any wars between Mason groups?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, Eric. When you were in the military, what was your highest rank?
I retired as staff sergeant.
Really? Sergeant?
Uh-huh.
NCODP?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were borderline Masonic all right there all by yourself, wasn't you?
Pretty much.
I was never a sergeant.
You never made sergeant?
I didn't want it.
Okay.
I stayed 16 years as a specialist. Think about that.
Yeah,
I was in charge of an entire cav motor pool and nobody in charge of me except for a sergeant major, and I was a specialist.
Huh.
Sergeant Major Daly, 3rd ACR.
Oh, I recognize that name, actually.
And that, I'm sorry, I'm not being racist. I'm being military by saying this. That was the best black man I ever worked for in my life.
I hear you.
And it was.
So, you know, Yvonne is saying, well, you're in the chat room too, but Yvonne
That's
is
it.
saying Mason sounds like gangs in a sense.
It is, but they also do it on an ethical level, not a let's steal drugs level. Let's shoot billions of people for a container. Not like that. It's not like The Godfather. It's more along the lines of let's just give somebody some money and let's just brush it under the table for a while.
Well, that was kind of like what Capone did. Well, mind you, it's also what Robin Hood did, was give people money. Of course, he didn't give them to himself, but that's a whole different topic.
Oh yeah.
But the funny part about it, when you start looking at it as Go ahead.
No, I was reading the chat. Yvonne said, ethical my a beep.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that ethical, when you laid it out that way, it's not so much they're unethical by that definition. They just have different ethics.
Well, no. Keith, you're a little garbled. You need to reposition your mic or something.
I can't reposition my mic. It's me.
Oh, okay.
I fry these poor things.
Why do you think I don't give my wife cell phones?
Yeah.
We have one cell phone, and we haven't had a cell phone in over a year. We just got it a month ago.
Yeah, no, I can walk by and buy machines and shut the poor things down if I'm in the wrong frame of mind. But no, when you start looking at the ethics that drives these different groups, it's not a question of one being ethical and one being unethical. It's just different ethics. But the moment they break karmic law, you're in trouble. And that's when it becomes an issue.
Okay, karmic law and ethics. But here's the thing. If you're a pagan society, and some Masonic groups are a pagan society, okay, their ethics by the law, by American standards, they are amoral, not morally ethical at all, by definition of the law. I learned this in college no more than a year ago. It's considered amoral. But here's the thing. The laws are written by the laws of the society or religion of that city. That's what makes the law.
True.
So if you're in a society that completely believes that there is no such thing as sin whatsoever, just truth and lie, then what's my ethical code to follow your laws?
Well,
that's the problem they came with.
When I talk about karmic law, the thing about karmic law is you don't have to believe in it. You have to follow it. It's kind of like you don't have to believe in gravity for gravity to work.
Until it doesn't.
Well, there is actually, there's one chap I know of that has skydived repeatedly without a parachute. Okay, is it possible? Yes. Would I recommend it? Not a prayer.
No. I've had 4 jumps, so no.
I can't figure out why you'd get out of a perfectly good aircraft.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, I got picked up by a tornado. It takes all the fun out of the way.
Actually, no, that's when you don't pull your chute, you ride the wind, and if you're fun, you took a piece of cardboard with you and put it on your feet and ride the wind. And,
trying to surfboard?
No, it's called airboarding. They used to do it in the 80s.
Yes.
And some guys in the military did do it. I've seen it. It's messed up.
It's kind of like, now you do skateboarding. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, we used to do bumper surfing, where you, in runners, grab hold of the back bumper of a car and go racing down the road.
Yep. I did that a few times, too, in Pikeville, Kentucky.
Again, not necessarily the brightest things to do, but a whole lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
At least until the car hit the wrong corner.
Okay, you do know that right there is the fundamental reason why every single city has one big, huge 3-square block area that everyone drives around that same loop over and over every Friday night.
It's called cruising.
Yes. That's why they made the bumper thing. That's where it came from.
Here I thought the bumper thing is what made that.
Or the chicken or the egg.
So getting back to the Masons, do we have any ties that go pre-Native American?
Based off region is what all the stuff was based off of originally, before Europeans started coming over.
Okay. So Masons, like you said, I think you said it earlier in the show, Masons actually started in Europe. Did they come over and integrate with the Native Americans, and that's where it started?
Well, to a lot of people, that kind of stuff comes naturally with religion. Because if you really think about it, even back in the day, until religion started getting major big, that's when we got the Inquisition and the Dark Ages.
Right.
That was just and it had no, it was chaotic, no control. A lot of the Masons died during the Crusades. A lot of them did. Hold on, what's this about Egyptian pyramids?
Yeah, so have to if Caral, Peru is
of the
as
Egyptian
old as Egyptian pyramids.
I would say yes, but what I believe of that is that those pyramids were actually Egypt and all those countries and everything. I actually believe that we screwed up history and dinosaurs were a lot further back than we believed. And Pangea was one large continent, and all Egypt, Mexico and all that was one large continent. There were pyramids everywhere.
And that's
It's separated. The pyramid stayed up.
So,
cool.
So, folks, we're actually talking about this before the show because, there is a craft that looks triangular. One of the races actually flies, and it is actually a flying pyramid. You want to go into that real quick, Keith? Which race flies the flying pyramid?
Well, the consortium itself handles them. But if we can now, I remember exactly who it was that built the originals. The Egyptians are the pyramids are based off-world, but they were built by man. Okay, the consortium is the ones that actually built the pyramids, but those things were, quite frankly, research vessels. They're not designed for much else. Or I should put it this way, they're communication hubs.
Real quick, Keith. We have a lot of new listeners that come and go. What exactly is a consortium?
The consortium is, for lack of a better term, an intergalactic, an interstellar UN. It is a group operated that is governed by a council of 12. There are well over 2,500 member races. Okay, and the basic rule is they aren't here to conquer the planet. They're here to make sure that the different planets are run by the dominant races. In Earth's case, to make certain that man, being the dominant, technologically advanced, surface-dwelling race, mankind has been designated the keepers of the planet. Okay, that is why the off-worlders haven't taken the planet. Okay, they've got no. The library that is sitting on this planet, mixed into the triple helix, and the neural net of this planet, is the thing they're trying to protect. And for those who don't know entirely how that fits, it's kind of like Earth's ancient Library of Alexandria, only on a galactic level. Well, more to the point, on a universal level.
And just to clarify, yeah, because Yvonne's saying a whole bunch of people, ETs and beings. No, there are no humans in the consortium currently, is there?
Well, they aren't a member, if you will. There are humans that work with the consortium, but the human race has not been brought into it in a participatory fashion yet, because they are still trying to bring mankind up to the point where mankind is, shall we say, emotionally stable enough to actually follow guidelines. And that's because, the reason I put it that way is because mankind still has a propensity. Curiosity is a staggeringly devastating problem on a starship.
No, curiosity killed the cat, but...
And everybody else on the planet.
Exactly. And just to clarify, Yvonne, there are no humans on the consortium. It is all off-world. And they are here to monitor the planet, not to interfere with human affairs, unless the humans decide they're going to destroy the planet. And then you'll see the consortium getting involved.
Yeah. And there are a lot of humans that work with the consortium in various capacities, but they aren't of a governing faction. There are a number that are, if you will, consultants for the human race, because humans do have a tendency of learning very quickly. They just don't follow orders well.
Exactly.
Which I'm pretty certain that just about every military person on the planet has run into that problem.
So Trippin is saying China says they banned anyone to excavate the pyramids in China since they found the clay army. China's knowledge has exploded. Is it from stealing technology, or have they investigated their untouched pyramids and found lost knowledge?
Okay, I got that one. I think it's lost. They found lost knowledge, because you do know this isn't the first one, right?
Oh no, there's pyramids everywhere.
But the excavation and items missing.
Well, look at Peru.
Well, no, look at the Sphinx.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, it's a site a lot older than the pyramids are.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the time capsule that was in it on the last episode in 1999 of the Nine Wonders of the World on NBC. They opened up a time capsule chamber that was between the legs, underneath the plaque that's between the legs in Egyptian.
Yeah.
And that episode never aired.
And this is one where, in all fairness, I will agree with you wholeheartedly. This is a case of uncovering ancient knowledge that mankind had. Egypt was far more advanced than what mankind at this point still believes.
Actually, I think it's a little bit more broader than that, but I do agree with you. But I think what we perceive, because we were taught history of all of these people in the past, were stupid. Okay?
Well, yes.
What if none of them were stupid?
Oh, I can handle that one. There was a point some 40,000 years ago when mankind actually had total global peace.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not unreachable for mankind to have world peace. And what wiped out the civilization at that point was not a war. It was, quite frankly, a curiosity thought that was not thought through before they did it.
In other words, an experiment went wrong. Everything went boom. The continents separated, and the Bermuda Triangle used to be the magnetic epicenter of Pangea, where the experiment went wrong. That's a common theory.
Not entirely, but you're on the right track. It was definitely an experiment, if you will, that went wrong, although it wasn't exactly what we would call scientific.
Well, no. You got to remember, though, if history was wrong,
I'm not doing
that
it.
means they could have been smarter than us. So what we consider as not scientific, they could have had it as scientific.
I'm not doing it from scientific research. I'm doing it from memory.
Okay.
That's what I mean by. That's what I meant when I said earlier to you that I told the guy years ago that one day I should start researching instead of just living.
Yeah, that's all I do is research.
Yeah, I don't. But then my past life memories are rather extensive. That being said, I still agree with you wholeheartedly. It ultimately boiled down to an experiment, something that was decided to be tried that went brutally wrong, and the result was over less than a year, the devastation of an entire society. But mankind, I mean, even you take a look at the astrolabe that they found out in I think it was last year or the year before, they found in Greece. Or Greece? Yeah. They found an astrolabe that is mechanical and accurate to this day. But I absolutely agree with you that mankind used to have secrets. The Egyptians used to have a way of operating inside the human body without breaking the skin. Okay. And no, I don't mean by going through the nasal cavity.
Mummies.
Yeah. Just to be clear on that.
Oh, I know. But you also got to remember what we perceived as a tool could have been totally different from them. They could have been considering magic and science the same thing.
They did.
Which means what we perceive as history and science and what we know is wrong.
No, just incomplete.
I say, but what if it ends up being literally topsy-turvy?
Well, in many cases it will. Back in the 70s, I was telling the doctors that they would never understand human healing until they looked at the triple helix. I was promptly told I was out of my mind, except for in late 98, early 99, they discovered the triple helix. What I didn't know in the 70s was they didn't have the technology to see the triple helix at that point.
Yeah, they did.
Back in the 70s?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. With like I said, when I went finally looking into
the first neutron microscope was in 1979, if I remember straight. But it was in Germany.
Okay.
If I remember straight, 1979 was the first neutron microscope.
Well, here's a neat little piece for you. When I told the doctors that one, it was 1974.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, my apologies. It was 1975. I was 12 at the time.
Ah, okay. Well, you said 70s, but
no. I should have been clearer and went the early 70s or
okay.
The point being, the knowledge that is there, the information that's there. I forget who it was, and you might remember this one better than I will. Well, clearly you will. One of the great minds of the early 20th century made the comment that when you push technology to its ultimate level, there's little difference between it and magic.
Albert Einstein.
Thank you. I told you to probably remember better than I did.
But he also was the one that stated that even though it is not, you can't discern it between magic and science, that does not mean that it does not need to be controlled.
And that, or at the very least, guided.
Which is where the Masons come in.
Yeah, and the trick is to find out what the motivation is of the individual Mason to make sure.
And those motivations of those Masons are based on the society that they are currently living in, their own world, the people of the city, even the politicians in charge.
And yeah, Markham's in the chat room saying it was Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, it was Arthur C. Clarke, but Albert Einstein said it more than once. He even said it in a speech against the Nazis.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have you back on the show. And you can.
Well, I do audio and video stuff. I make videos for YouTube with my kids. I'm a stay-at-home dad. You can call me anytime. It does not bother me. I'm bored as hell half the time.
Oh, you've got to get a better hobby.
I have a podcast as well. It's just I haven't been able to do it lately. I got 3 kids, and it's summer break.
I can relate.
No, I completely understand, which is why this show comes great at midnight.
When it's my birthday.
Yeah. Today, Robert is 41. Still
yeah.
buck.
I tell you, you are such a young sprog, Robert. You realize?
Yeah,
like,
I don't
such
feel
a young
it.
sprog.
No, I started college at. Okay, let me see if I can give a little bit of background. Pikewood, Kentucky. Left Pikewood, went back to Richmond, and started going to EKU at 16, 17 years old. And then I said, screw it, popped out on a GED, went straight into a freshman year 3 days later.
That's what's called getting bored and knowing the school system isn't helping you.
Yeah,
or
pretty
more to the
much.
point, it's holding you back.
Pretty much. That's when they started block scheduling in a lot of the schools across America.
Yeah, they did that up here a long time ago.
I think Tripping Fool wants to hear more from Eric. Eric?
I'm here. I'm breathing. I just been sitting here kicking back listening.
Are you enjoying your show, sir?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Shows like this come rare where I can actually sit and just ask a question or two, and you just go with it.
Well, do I have permission to reuse this audio for one of my live streams? Okay. So here's what I'll try to do. I'll take a whole bunch of documents and pictures, and I'll make a cool little video and try to match the topics of the discussions with the pictures and repost it in about a couple of weeks. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, that's a plan. That gives me a goal, so, a topic to work on.
So Markham is saying the first DNA was imaged by using X-ray diffraction imaging in 1953.
And that was the crossbeam with Nikola Tesla was the one that worked on the machine for that, if I remember straight.
And the neat part there is, and this is why Eric and I end up going down one heck of a rabbit hole on occasion. In 53, they spotted the double helix. The problem is it wasn't complete because everything on this planet is built on the triple. Okay, everything is built on 3. Even to the point that the theory of relativity, quite frankly, is 1 + 1 = 3, but it's not a mathematical equation.
Okay, so how far into your studies about the helix have you been?
You're referring to, I presume, actual educational looking into it.
No, I mean more along the lines of author and last book that you studied.
Never.
Okay. Now, here is what I've learned about that kind of stuff. The human body has the double helix. Everything else in the world has 3 helix. But the one thing that they did test, and this was in the 83, 84 time frame, the electromagnetic field of the Earth through the ley lines in the core, it has a DNA. It is the 3rd helix that connects the nervous system of the energies of the Earth to the magnetic field and energies of the humans that walk it. It is the 3rd helix that connects us to it. That's a theory that is very popular in some circles.
I won't debate the popularity of it, and I know this is going to ruffle feathers, but I just simply won't agree with it.
But you said a few moments ago that we have a major connection to the Earth.
I absolutely did. That doesn't change the fact the human body is built on the triple helix, and the reference that you're referring to absolutely has its own signature, absolutely is tied directly, or more to the point, affected directly by not only the humans, but everything else. They are absolutely intertwined.
Hold on. Eric Markham is calling BS on what exactly?
Where are we here?
So Markham is actually our microbiologist on the team. So we'll actually have you back on the show with Markham soon, and you guys can debate science.
Oh, perfect. I would love that.
Oh, yeah, he's a lot, like, I enjoy having discussions with Eric. Intriguingly enough, although we've got 2 very different ways of getting there.
A lot of ego energy tonight, really? No, I'm just drunk. It's my birthday. Come on now. I like to talk when I'm drinking. I'm drinking really red wine.
Considering that alcohol knocks out learned and trained inhibitors, that's understandable.
Yeah, but actually not in this case, because I have no friends, because we moved to Florida from Kentucky, so I have nobody to talk to. So this is the point to where I release all inhibitions and just let everything out. Like haven't talked to no one in 6 months, but 3 kids under 6.
Well, that can be extremely enlightening, frustrating.
Well, example tonight.
Oh, okay, so talking about the Masons.
All right, back. Yes. Okay.
So, what is the goal of the Masons today, and what do you see? Where do you see our government going in the next 5 years with Masonic influence?
I'm hoping the Masons help us, because some of this crap's getting crazy.
Because you see a lot of, and yeah, I know, Markham. It has to do with this laptop. You see a lot of division. You see so much division in this country. Do you think did the Masons plan that, or was that because of the current administration?
I think that was they decided to take their own path and not follow the plan that was given to them. Politicians decided to.
But I thought the Masons were a part of the politicians.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that they say, okay, I'm going to do everything you say, but I'm also going to do this.
See, the one thing I do know is that if somebody that is either the States or, and I'm not sure who the other country is, but unless somebody starts doing something about a very definitive scientific problem, this whole issue of what's going to happen in the future is going to become a little erratic. Because you guys, there is an island in the Canaries that when it goes, Yeah, and it's not a question of will it go. The scientists have already said, yeah, it's going to. When it goes, the tsunami that is going to come out of it is phenomenal, also devastating. And the ironic part is that all parties stand to lose if they don't get their head out of the sand. Doesn't matter which one of the Masons we're talking about, or any of the other societies, or which of the politicians. Because nature has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt she does not care what you believe, or what part of the world you live in, or who your ancestors are. She's going to react the way she reacts.
Now, Tripp's asking, is part of the problem from the Skull and Bones infighting?
Skull and Bones is just one group out of 13 groups.
So
all the groups have infighting. That's what keeps them circulating and keeps them going.
Okay.
It's like you have to have friction to have movement. Just like in the military, you have to have friction to have movement.
Agreed. So which group out of the 13 has the most influence?
That's the beauty of it. None of them. That literally is a group, or as he said, a consortium.
Okay. Which one is the oldest?
Actually, the 13 main groups were all started with the 13 main houses that came from Aleister Crowley. That's what I said earlier.
Okay.
When they came into America. That's Americans group. There is a different section in Europe.
Oh, okay. And so the oldest ones came from Europe, though.
Yes, the oldest ones came from Europe. It's kind of like, every city has one big church, and then you have all these little bitty churches.
Okay, makes sense. So we're actually coming down to the end of the show. Go ahead and tell us where people can find your show and find your information, Robert.
Well, I'm on Spreaker as Robert Lee. I'm in the chat. You can follow me to that. And on my profile, you'll be able to see, once I get finished with it, you'll be able to see my YouTube page. I'm on Spreaker. My Spreaker is explicit. I do cuss, so be wary. I will put that out. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitch. Me and my children live stream on Twitch and YouTube. And my email is rrlshort@live.com. And if you follow me through Facebook off of the chat area, you can easily take care of my stuff and look at it on Facebook.
All right. Sounds good. And Keith, where can we find your information?
Well, the easiest way to track it down is I do have a YouTube channel, which I should get back to, but that's R. Keith Andrews on YouTube. And, of course, like Ray, you can find me on Facebook. And I've got a wooden UFO as a icon, I guess it is. Something to that effect. Or, of course, Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca. And I'm pretty certain you can get a hold of me through you.
Excellent. So, thank you guys for being on the show tonight. For all of our local listeners, don't forget we are at the market tomorrow, as we are every weekend. August 4th, we have a disaster and safety fair where we'll have a fire truck on display. We'll have several different disaster agencies that'll be coming in to pass that information on the volcanoes, earthquakes, extremist groups, things of that nature. And August 18th, we have a Sky Watch. And as I always put out, we do have Paracon coming up September 22nd. And moving on, so I'd like to thank our panel, our Keith Andrews, our astrologer and alien specialist, and Robert Lee, our special guest tonight. You can find us on Spreaker.com, TheFringe.fm, and KSVU 90.1 for all of our local listeners. I'd like to thank all our listeners, because without you, there is no S4. And, you know, we have new music. And I just want to say our music comes from Stephen Gill. And it is copyright of S4 now, which I think is great. We have our own music now. And not sure what we're doing next week. I haven't had a chance to pull up the calendar. But thank you for listening tonight, folks. And as always, keep your eyes to the skies.